Well, good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana weather. I have a great forecast for you again today. What beautiful weather we're seeing as we put the satellite and radar here into motion. You see, well, virtually nothing across our area because we've been under mostly clear skies, and it's just been gorgeous tonight. You cannot beat this weather, even almost on the chilly side. And it's July the 17th. Can you believe this? Today's video update is sponsored by Metal Magic in Washington. You can give Chad a call at 698-8555 for all of your paintless dent repair needs. And of course, tell him Southern Indiana weather sent you. All right. Putting a stop to this, we're at 54 here in the Huntingburg Airport, 58 in the Evansville Regional Airport, 56 up here at the Lawrenceville Airport, 53 up here in Washington, 51 in Bloomington, 50 up here around the Columbus area. So, bottom line, we are looking at some absolutely beautiful temperatures out there. Get out and enjoy this, folks. We're only going to a high of 77 today. You just really can't beat this weather. I mean, is this really July? And dew points are still very comfortable. If we put the dew points on, you see they are just are very, very close here to what our actual temperatures here are. So expect some patchy fog, possibly in the low-lying areas. Not everybody's going to get fog, but maybe the usual suspects of some low-lying areas may get it. So just use that word of caution as you head out the door this morning. Now, no rain to talk about for us today. Let me put regular NAM. I don't have the high-res NAM pulled up here because it doesn't go out far enough. I need the regular NAM. Let me just show you no rain until we hit potentially into Friday, late at night. And let me pull this up. Here we are in the overnight hours, and really this is by Saturday at 8 a.m. before you're starting to see anything. According to the NAM, and this particular run of the NAM, we could actually see some decent rains potentially on Saturday morning. Now, this is a southern moving storm, so the jet stream that's over us right now has really suppressed this low farther to the south. So the question is, how much of this rain can we actually end up seeing this far north? Well, the NAM, as of last night, said yes, we see some. If we take a look at the NAM this morning, here's what we see from the overnight run, and you see it actually suppresses it down to Kentucky and doesn't move it on. And I continue to put this into motion. It moves it out of the way, and so by the time we get into Saturday, what we're saying is, where's the rain? Because the previous run of the NAM had us with a deluge of rain, and the newest run doesn't. Well, it's very similar to what we've seen in the wintertime, where it's all going to depend on the track of the low, and it's varying from run to run right now. So the bottom line is we don't have a great handle on Saturday yet. I went with a 40% chance of rain on Saturday. In reality, in some model runs, it could go down to a 20 or 10% chance of rain. In some model runs, it could go up to a 50 or 60% chance of rain. So I've split the difference right now. Either way, I don't think it's a complete deluge, but I do think we still stand to see the chance of some rain on Saturday. But if we don't, then that's just a little bit more of a bonus because it's going to be pleasant weather otherwise for it. Now, next week, we still have big changes on the way, okay? Remember we talked about the typhoon a couple of days ago that's going to hit the mainland of China here in the next day or so. 6 to 10 days later, that leads to a ridge over our portion of the area along with an active weather pattern. Here is that heat ridge over the central portion of the U.S., and we are in the active side of that ridge where it's going to be the shortwave expressway. Basically, by shortwaves, what we mean is that you take a look at the jet stream here and you see these little small waves in it. So we call a shortwave. That's a little extra burst of energy which leads to some thunderstorm activity. Down here, it's going to be, as this ridge sets up early next week and moves in, it's going to be the shortwave expressway for us. It's going to be daily rain chances as these little impulses ride on along this the top of this ridge and over us. And some of them could be some strong storms potentially. Some of them just general thunderstorms. We'll keep an eye on it next week. Not a strong chance of rain any day next week until you get maybe later in the week, which is well out of the extended outlook. Something we will keep an eye on. We do expect that there may be the possibility of some severe weather again, potentially still looking at the 26th to the 28th time frame. Still have to work those details out. Some model runs it looks very impressive, other model runs it doesn't look very impressive, so we'll just have to see how that goes, but we will keep an eye on it. Another thing that we'll keep an eye on too, by the way, is this up and down temperature swing. Now, the GFS ensembles that I'm showing you here, because I can show you temps, raw data on it out to 16 days, just to give you an idea of the pattern we're looking at. It's actually been a little high. Okay, it's said that we should be in the 80s all the time when we've been in the 70s, so it's been running a little on the high side. But still, you get a bump up in temperatures here for a few days, but then we go right back down. And if this is on the high side again, Could we look at 70s again? Ooh, that remains yet to be seen. We will see. I'm not ready to go there yet, but you can see, regardless of how you cut it, we have a cool, and then we go up for just a few days, and then we start to go down again in temperatures. So could we see these 90s? Well, if we do, it's not going to be very many of them. Indianapolis, by the way, up to our north, Indianapolis has yet to even see a 90-degree temperature here. Now, we've seen only a small portion of days down here. Really, you can probably count on one hand the number of days that we've been above 90 here in southern Indiana as well. We have seen it, but it's been kind of rare this summer, and it doesn't look like we've got a whole string of them to come. It looks like we've just got maybe, I don't even think we'll hit 90 every one of these days. Usually, oftentimes, this is running on the high side, so we'll see. But regardless, we've got a cool down the way it looks behind it, sort of that up and down type of pattern. Remember, nothing has broken since the winter. We are still in the same meteorological pattern that we saw, where we'll go below normal, well below normal for several days. We'll warm up to near normal or slightly above normal for 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 days, and then we go right back down and repeat it for an extended period of below normal weather again. Same pattern that we have seen, and this has been the consistent same pattern we've seen here. It's showing up in there again. So, by the way, the only thing that's going to break this would be something like an El Nino. I haven't talked about it in a while. I'll just mention it today. The American models here, the CFS version 2, is still predicting that we end up with an El Nino. The different squiggly lines you see are different ensemble members of that model. The black dash line is the mean of it, and you can see there are some who say, I'm not too excited about an El Nino, but the majority of them are saying still El Nino. But the problem with this is we're actually just not seeing it. We're taking a look here. Let me show you what you're looking at. Sea surface temperature waters, and you're looking at the bright warm colors are above normal, well above normal in some cases once you get into the browns over here. And then you start into the blues and you get to the below normal waters. Okay, here's your surface of your water, and here's down to 450 meters below the water. And then here is your ocean, where Asia is over here, South America is over here, just to give you some sort of a placement. So you're looking at water temperatures as you go down through the depth. Excuse me. Notice that we did here back early in May. Here's the 13th of May, and it goes on in time. And you notice that we had very, very, very above normal temperatures here, and it led us to think El Nino is coming, El Nino is coming. And some were even saying, could this be a super El Nino like 97 and have some really devastating consequences? I didn't talk much about this because, well, I wasn't completely convinced that it was going to happen yet for a number of reasons, but I was just sort of waiting and seeing. If it happened, I'd cover it closer to time. Well, what you can see now as you go through this is it's actually starting to cool down a little bit compared to where it was. We were here into these deep browns, and now we're down into here, and we've actually got some below normal temperatures just under the surface starting to rise up. So that's putting a hold on the El Nino right now. And so even though our models say El Nino is coming, if you go to the Australian government's Bureau of Meteorology and you take a look at their models, they're here actually saying, well, no, actually El Nino is not coming. We don't think it's coming at all. One lone ensemble member of theirs says it's coming. All the rest of them say, nope, El Nino is not happening. So what do we do with that? Our models say it is. Australia's models say it's not. UK's models also say it's not. What do we do? It may come, it may not come, but regardless, it's not going to be a strong El Nino like the way it is seen. Now, that means a couple of things for us. I don't want to draw this out very long, but I want to make you aware of this. That means a couple of things for us. Outside of a really strong, decent El Nino, there's nothing that's going to break our weather pattern. And you know what that means. If nothing breaks our weather pattern, then when we come into the winter again, we get probably the same type of winter that we have just seen. Now, I'm not going to say my official forecast is for a snowy and cold winter yet, but it would not surprise me. Especially if we don't get an El Nino like this, then yes, we are probably headed for a cold, icy, snowy winter, very similar to what we had again. If an El Nino does develop, it could throw a wrench into that. We'll see. But right now, El Nino is kind of our only hope of getting out of that winter type of pattern, and it doesn't look like it's materializing. Winter could come early this year. Who knows? But time to prepare is now. It's late July. Get your alternative sources of heat in there for the wintertime, your firewood, and if you got a pellet stove, some other things like that. Now's the time to start preparing, because you know how hard those gas bills were to pay this winter. We got some months to save up for it, folks. I'm just trying to give you the heads up here that we could end up having a rough winter if El Nino doesn't end up developing. We likely will have a rough winter. That's yet to be seen. Yes, we are still 6 months away from December, so a lot can change in between now and then. But the way things are looking right now, it's not looking pretty. So the time to prepare is to start dealing with it now. Okay. But regardless, we've got several months before we get there, and it'll be interesting to watch, and I'll keep you up to date as the time goes by. All right, let's wrap this up. We'll go to southernindianaweather.com. We're going to 77 for your high temperature today under partly cloudy skies. 81 on Friday, 78. Your thunderstorm chances again on Saturday we've already discussed. I've given it a 40% chance. That could be lower or higher depending on the model run, so that's just sort of an average of everything right now. 78 for your high on Saturday. The warm-up slowly begins after that. We go to 84 Sunday with isolated storms still in the forecast each day, you notice, but we warm up to the upper 80s by the time we get to the extended outlook, and again, that's when we're starting on that shortwave expressway that I was talking about, where we're just going to have impulse after impulse, giving us, we're going to have steamy, hot weather, but we're just going to have those daily storm chances, and after that, we'll have a cool down again, but it's not in the extended outlook yet. But that's sort of the pattern that we're in right now. Enjoy the 70s for another day or two while we still have them, folks, because they're not going to last around for long, and the warm, muggy weather is returning. That's it for this video update, folks. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite. Have a great day and stay safe, and we will see you next time.